Maundy is one of those fun words that would never have survived from Middle English into the present day had it not been for the English-speaking church using it to name the Thursday in Holy Week. It comes from the Latin mandatum, from which we get the word mandate. This word was chosen to name the Thursday before Easter because of the commandments or mandates issued by Jesus in the context of the Last Supper, which we remember here at the beginning of the great 3 days, the Paschal Triduum. In particular, we remember the new commandment Jesus gave to his disciples in John's Gospel, to love one another, just as Jesus has demonstrated his love for them by kneeling to wash their feet. Another of Jesus' commandments we remember today was heard in St. Paul's account of the Last Supper, during which Jesus speaks the words of institution and twice issues the mandate, "Do this in remembrance of me." So Maundy Thursday could be Mandate Thursday or Commandment Thursday, if the church had let the title for today evolve along with the rest of the English language. Sometimes going with the old words is best, I must admit. But even though we've preserved the old language with its charm, the concept of a mandate or a commandment could bear some reflection as we gather on this Maundy Thursday evening. We can't talk for long about mandates and commandments without bumping up against the notion of obedience. Every mandate comes with a choice to either obey it or disobey it. Which is the right choice depends upon many factors. Obedience is by no means an ethical absolute, and there are many unjust and misguided commandments to which the most ethical response is disobedience. Jesus disobeyed many unjust commandments and taught his disciples to do the same. "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy.' But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." In our time, nonviolent civil disobedience is a common method of resisting injustice, and there is often little question in the end about whether such acts of disobedience are ethical. So, what does it take for obedience to be the ethical response to a given commandment? How can we be sure it's the right choice to obey rather than to disobey? There are many reasons, after all, to be skeptical of powers and authorities, especially when they start telling us what to do. Yet I believe it's true that sometimes obedience is the proper response to a mandate. I live my life, after all, under vows of obedience, as a Benedictine and as a priest. From my experience as one who has chosen to live under these vows, I wonder if appropriate obedience is always based upon a well-founded trust in the one giving the commandment. But this leads us to the question: how can we come to know that someone with the authority to give a commandment is worthy of our trust and obedience? Again, from my experience of these things, I wonder if the only way to learn trust is from being in relationship. We know whether or not an authority can be trusted based on the character of our relationship to the person or people who bear that authority. So I ask on this Maundy Thursday, Is Jesus' authority to be trusted? Is it appropriate for us to obey his mandates? Let's gather what we know about how Jesus occupies his position of authority. And let's consider our relational experience of that authority as those who follow in his way as disciples. Listen again to these words from St. John's Gospel. After he had washed their feet, he put on his robe and returned to the table. He said to them, "Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for that is what I am. So if I, your teacher and Lord, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have set you an example, that you also should do as I have done to you." The washing of feet is quintessentially the work of a servant. It is never done by someone with authority for someone under that authority. With this act, Jesus bears his authority in a way that flips the very nature of power and authority on its head. Jesus shows that his power is not imposed from the top down over us. It acts from the bottom up to cleanse and empower us. Jesus' authority can be trusted because it is not held for the sake of the one in authority. It is held for the sake of those who call him teacher and Lord. Because we have this trust in Jesus' authority, we find that by obeying his mandates, we are not burdened by a power from above, but supported and empowered from beneath. We find that when we give our obedience to Christ, it is transformed in God's presence and given back to us as true freedom. Freedom to be who we are called to be, our true selves, awakened and enlivened in the image of Christ. This is the paschal shape of our faith. We give to God what is ours to give, what comes from us, our obedience, our bread from the earth and our fruit of the vine, our time and money and talents. And God transforms it all and gives it back to us as something that could never have come just from us, as something divine. So let us gladly learn from our teacher and Lord this Maundy Thursday the nature of his upside-down authority and the profound freedom of giving him our obedience. May we find ourselves well supported from beneath by the humble power of Christ. As we remove our shoes, come forward and allow our feet to be washed by the clergy of this parish. May we also then find ourselves empowered to place our feet in the footsteps of our teacher and Lord, and to do for others what has been done for us. Amen.